Today on We Need to Talk, we have part 3 of our talk with Langille from TPC Sports, 3-player co-op. And today, we're going to talk about things. And Pepins is mostly going to talk in the third person. I'm just going to talk about how I put people through hell to get them where they need to be to compete against them and beat them down. Because we need to talk. See, I gotta say I'm a great trainer, but I put people through hell. I have to expose them to my personality.
Oh. So your personality is hell. Got it.
But it's what makes greatness, right?
Oh. Right. So
Yeah,
I guess it's kind of part of the hero's journey.
Pepin's that guy that if you walk into a gym and say, I think I want to try out, sparring boxing, and he decides that he's going to feed you nothing but raw eggs and make you sleep on cement floors because someday you're going to fight in the UFC. And it's he's going to make that happen for you. He's going to lead you straight to the top, and it's going to be hell, and you're going to like it because Catan is life. That's what I'm learning right now.
No, I think what I do is I make you good enough to be like formidable and fun to play against, but not good enough that I can't beat you.
Oh, so you teach them everything they know, but not everything you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to know the basic rules. That way I don't have to explain them to you anymore. But, you can't be too good because then I can't beat you.
Understood. See, this is where I went wrong with TPC Sports. Had I adopted that theory, I would have won every championship going because I wouldn't have allowed people in that had a better skill level than me. And then I just could have been walking around with all the gold. I could have been the Canadian Conor McGregor. It would have been amazing. But no. So I think next time I decide to put together a sporting bit, I'm going to bring Nathan in as an advisor, and I'll win all the gold.
Well, I think here's the meta aspect to it, because you actually want that thrill of being able to lose, right? But you don't want the thrill of the thrill is you need to make it so that you can lose, right? And there's a good chance of you losing because people are good. But if you make people too good, or if you give them too much resource, number one, they're just not going to play. But also number two, there's no fun in you playing because you're just going to lose. The fun is not winning. The fun is being in a position where you could lose, but not losing.
So create the illusion that, oh no, I could be in trouble, but oh wow, I pulled it out at the very end.
There's no illusion.
Okay.
I think I've just taken this conversation and made it into a ham.
No. I want to hear where this goes. I want to hear where this goes.
Okay. Well, see, it's like you want to have fun playing the game, right?
Yes.
You want people to be really good at the game, right? And the fun of the game is, potentially losing and having a great time, against people, right? But then let's say that the person you're playing against just like mops the floor with you, right? Or let's say you give them too much, too soon, then they're not going to want to play, or they get really annoyed with you, right? So you got to give you got to give them the tools to beat you, but you also don't want to lose yourself. So it's that weird kind of like that weird dichotomy of not feeding too much information, but also feeding enough information, but also making them really good, but not too good because you don't want them to beat you, right? It's kind of like you're trying to hit all these different things, because ultimately what my goal is to play Catan with somebody and have them be good and to make me better at the game, but also for me not to lose, but also for it not to be like a one-sided, like a punching match.
Right. I get you.
You sound insecure, Nate.
I don't want to hold back, because if you hold back, then the game's not fun, because you're just kind of like, I don't know, you're pulling your punches. You're just kind of playing with children. You don't want that. You want to be playing with real adults who are contentious, to yourself, but you also don't want to, you want to go full out, but also, play with people who are also newer too. It's that weird kind of dichotomy right there.
I play as hard as I can, no matter who my opponent is. I will always try and...
I can vouch for that.
I will always try and play at my highest, so that I'm never... Because it's like, if you start like playing and pulling back some, it's a slippery slope to like getting comfortable, and then like that's how you start play. How you practice is how you play. And if you're playing against somebody with very low skill level, I would consider that closer to practice. And at that point, I don't want to play down, because then that's how I'll end up playing against somebody when I'm not playing against somebody new to it. So not good for kids who play stuff with me, because I like, if I can beat you 100-0, I will.
You are very much like my girlfriend, because my girlfriend, like, when she realized that she was going to play against you and Patrick, Patrick being co-host of Damn, she was like, "Oh, I get to crush some newbies. This is great."
And she didn't win either game.
That is true. That is true.
Tell her I said that. That should piss her off. She is ultra competitive. She's also a cheater.
Yeah, that's true. She's also co-Canadian. You know, she's got a dual citizenship, so I think that's something that you might, you know, find I don't know, admirable. But she started flipping me off last game, and that's not very Canadian-like. So
No, it's not.
I was
That's
surprised.
not very Canadian.
Did she at least say sorry after?
No. Oh, actually, she did. She, you know, after the game, she's like, "I'm sorry, I got super competitive there. I shouldn't have flipped you off, but you deserved it." And
she said sorry. That's different.
Oh,
Langille, can you confirm something for me?
Sure. What's up?
I have this theory that Canadians have two different words.
Okay.
There's one that Americans are familiar with. It's sorry.
Right.
It's when you've done something that you genuinely feel bad about, or maybe you didn't understand the repercussions that we're going to have on somebody else, and you have remorse about that.
Right.
That is sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have another word in Canada that we don't have here, and that's sorry.
Okay.
And that's when you're sarcastically sorry. You fully understood what was going to be happening, and you're not really sorry, but the polite thing to do is to apologize. And in a way, it's kind of also like twisting the knife.
Not really.
Am I revealing too much of Canada?
Well, you're exposing the gimmick. See, there's another reference. So here's how it works. Canadians will apologize when we have done nothing wrong. Like we're both walking towards a doorway, right? And I realize that, you know, the right thing to do is for me to step back and let Meader go first. So I will say sorry and let him go through. And then, of course, in a Canadian aspect, he'd turn around and go, "No, I'm sorry. Yep, you go ahead." And then we'll just both stand there going, "No, you go ahead. You go ahead." Whereas Americans are like, "Let me through," and they will just go through, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're wasting too much time by saying who's more sorry. But I mean, yeah, there's sometimes, not often, but there are some times where we will say sorry, sarcastically.
Sarcasm is a big part of Canadian culture, I've found.
It definitely is. It definitely is. People say that sometimes they don't get our humor because of the fact that it's very sarcastic based. It's almost like it's British based. So, yep.
Now that you say that, Meader, I am kind of picking up a little bit more, because we had that podcast with Dropbear and Panda, and something that, I mean, especially I think it was Panda. She was using a bit more. Is that right? Or is it Dropbear? I'm trying to remember which one.
Panda's the female.
Okay,
yep.
Okay. So Panda was kind of making fun of Canadians a lot in there, but she was also being very Canadianish in her making fun of Canadians. Is kind of what I got out of that, if that made sense. Mm-hmm. Like, she was saying sorry, but also, like, it was like she wanted to say sorry, but also she was making fun of Canadians for saying sorry too much. It was kind of like both into one. It's kind of like, this is the culture that we are, but this is also me legitimately saying I'm sorry, because this is kind of like the polite thing to do. And I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of my reading of that now.
Yeah, that would make. I mean, I didn't hear that episode, but yeah, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, because I didn't quite understand the sarcasm until you just pointed it out, and now it seems far more insidious. You Canadians, maybe you're not all that polite. Maybe you guys what I think part of it is Americans. American culture is very I don't know, ends focused, or like we want to kind of get it over with, right? So like the politeness there is more communication style. Like in the case of you're trying to get in the door, one person says sorry, doesn't matter who, but that just kind of ends that whole interaction there, because then you can let the other person through. Well, if you spend too much time waffling around, that's not American kind of thing, because it's kind of like just let's get this kind of nicety over. Meader kind of doesn't like that. We had a whole conversation about that, where it's like Meader is more about being genuine to who you are in your heart, and if I ask you how you are, actually having interest in that, and otherwise you should ask a different question. Which I don't know if I'm miscommunicating that, Meader, but let me know if I am. But
no, that's close enough.
I think that there's these different kind of communication styles. Americans are a bit more kind of to the point about it. Like, let's get this interaction over with. Whereas Canadians are more like, we're trying to communicate that we both didn't want to, say, enter the door at the same time. And we both want to communicate that we're both didn't want to do that. But, it kind of can go back and forth because there's no actual end to that.
Right.
Right. Is there a level of pride to whoever is the most polite in Canada?
Not necessarily.
And that's where the standoff would happen at the door, where you're both like, well, I'm not going to be the rude one. Well, I'm not going to be the rude one.
Wow.
Politeness wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean this with love, not with any malice.
Okay.
Now it sounds like you don't believe that. Like you think
No. You go ahead. I'm just saying thank you for leading with that. You go ahead.
Is this a sore spot?
So is it? It's I feels like I'm like offending you now, and I don't know why.
No, you go ahead. I totally want to hear this.
I get that sense too. Cause like I feel like there's something that this guy like you took a shovel and you're trying to like dig up some dirt here, or not even dig up dirt. You're trying to like find some treasure, and then you just hit like a nerve, right, Meader? No. And I don't know what that nerve is, and now I'm just like confused.
All right, guys, I'm sorry. Let's.
What is it?
Let's. I want to hear this though. I want to hear. I know Meader doesn't want to come off as rude, but.
No, I mean that was backdating to the comment I had made, where my question is it like, is there a point of pride to being the more polite one in a situation where both of you are saying sorry at the same time, like in the door situation?
I don't think so. I just think it's the Canadian way to be, and then you go put maple syrup on your pancakes, and you So you just have yourself a Canadian day.
Is that a Canadian standoff?
It can be. But no, we're good. Look, I know I drive Meader crazy with my Canadianism. I know that. I know there's times where we'll log off a Discord or whatever it is, and I'm sure that there are moments where I drive him crazy. But it's it is what it is, and it's just I'm happy to be Canadian. Let's put it that way.
I can get kind of a little bit annoyed with my girlfriend sometimes. I mean, that's not the word, but it's like we're having a conversation about something, and she's trying to tell me something about someone. It could be something in their family or someone, someone she knows, and she's trying to communicate something that she doesn't like about them, or something that kind of like ticked her off a bit. But the way she communicates it, it's like very like it's super high level politeness, where I'm just like, are you trying to say you don't like this, or you don't like this person? And she's like, no, I'm not trying to say that. Well, then where are you communicating? Like, just get to the point here. Like you're what you're saying is very like over here, and I think you're trying to say this, but I'm trying to read through the lines, and these lines are too far apart. And I feel like that might be some of the struggle Meader's having. Is that right, or am I wrong?
I feel there have been words shoved down my throat at this point. Did I at any point say that I have issue with Canadians or with my communication with Langille?
Yes.
When did I say that?
Never.
Nate, you're the fucking worst.
Okay.
So my question while you had your headphones out for a second was, have I at any point said that like I have issue with Canadians or with my communication with Langille, or that I like, am frustrated with when I talk to Langille, and I feel like that was put on me, and I don't feel I've said that. That's not how I feel. I don't feel frustrated when I talk to you, Brian.
Oh, well, that is definitely good to know, because I was quite sure that there's been times, because let's be totally honest.
All right, I like this.
You are very blunt and to the point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is no let's warm things up and then just kind of see how this goes. Meader is just bam, and the Alexa, stop listening. And and you know, so there'll be times where I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how I'm going to explain this. This is you know, I don't really want to come out and be, you know, hellfire and brimstone. So whereas Meader's like, no, we're ripping that band-aid off now, and if, you know, some hair and some skin comes off with it, that's what we're doing. And I have to admit, I actually am quite envious of that. I wish that I had the ability to do that sometimes. So maybe it's my Canadianism, but yeah, no, I'm not. We're wired a little bit different, but it works out for both of us. Is how I see it.
I gotta say, sometimes, and this isn't an attack on you, Meader. I think this is why I actually like being your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get caught off guard because I'm also very polite myself. Like, I took a personality test, and this is like one of the big 5 personality tests that's actually valid, not like the Myers-Briggs as much.
I love Myers-Briggs. That matches my personality more than any other test I've ever taken. So you can take your 5s and shove them where the sun don't shine. Come on.
Anyway, so, but like I'm a weird kind of mix of personalities because I'm super polite in my personality, but also I'm very I forget the word is very disagreeable is the technical term for it. But essentially, I have my own thoughts and my own opinions. So I'm very polite in the way I communicate my disagreements, but I'm also very headstrong in what I believe or my actual thoughts. And, you know, maybe I'll kind of, you know, table conversations, but sometimes we're having conversations, Meader, and like I have this kind of like air politeness, and I'm kind of communicating like all these different like knobs and levers to get to a certain point, and then you just kind of like come in like and swan dive into a place I didn't know, and it's like, okay, where am I? Because like my way of communicating is like these polite levers, and all of a sudden it's like we're on like an issue I didn't even know was an issue, right? It's something where it's like you kind of like go past, and you kind of get right into the meta of the conversation, and it's kind of like, okay, I don't know how to discuss this, and I get kind of caught off guard, which I think is a great thing because that also makes for very good conversations on this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. That's actually a big dynamic of this. Me like going off on some random tangent and kind of discussing like these high level things, and you kind of get to the heart of the matter. Like, well, what about this? Like, shit.
You're definitely neither of you are going to offend me because we're talking about me, and that's my favorite thing, so it's fine. But that's part of like what's written in my Myers-Briggs personality type is that I'm very good at like getting to the heart of things, to the point that it's often things that people don't even realize that is the heart of things. And I understand things on a meta level where I can resolve disputes before anybody else even realizes that there's a dispute, including the people who are in the dispute. Oftentimes they don't realize we're heading towards an argument and it just got diffused before it ever got to the argument. And it's very much a double-edged sword because sometimes I see things that aren't there, and then make issues where there wasn't going to be an issue. So yeah, I am very blunt, and I'm equally jealous of your ability, Brian, to kind of phrase things in a diplomatic way, because I had struggled with that very much. Things just kind of are how they are, and I think sometimes people just need to hear that like this is how things are. And like I think people hide behind smoke screens a lot, so they'll say, you know, well, this and this and this, and like none of that's true. I don't want to deal with that. Just cut right through the smoke screens. This is what the facts are. Let's talk about the facts and how we can move forward from where we are right now. And it's a, you know, once again, double-edged sword. You always want what you don't have. So I'm equally jealous on the other side of the coin.
Understood. Well, I think it's going to be a good time for the listeners to decide You know, whether one way is better than the other, or do you need a hybrid of the both? I'd be interested in hearing what people think on that.
Yeah, I think a hybrid's always the best approach to most things. But I also think you kind of both extremes, because I think a diversity of like approaches and opinions and also just viewpoints in general is kind of the best. Because I'm hyper logical myself, and like I have certain strengths, but I also have these weaknesses to myself. And I think interacting with other people helps me understand myself and also how to communicate more. So I think kind of going with everything, like kind of having different opinions, different approaches is the best approach, honestly, because it's like you specialize in a certain area, or maybe your personality is specialized in that certain area, and who knows like what deficiency you need to make up for. And like I'm very good now about self-modeling because I know how I present myself to a large point. But one weakness I have is sometimes there's these blind spots, and I'm not sure if they're blind spots, right? Because I've gotten good at recognizing these blind spots through conversations with other people and kind of inferencing. Like people will say something or make a criticism of myself, and I'm not honestly sure if those criticisms are correct a lot of times. Like I know that I'm a bit more pretentious than I know I come off as pretentious sometimes, and I also over-explain things. But it's like when I'm over-explaining something, I'm not sure if I'm over-explaining it, right? And sometimes I'm not sure if sometimes I'm not sure if I'm over-explaining something, or if I'm not explaining enough, or if the person's not getting the point. Because a lot of times I will over-explain something because people don't get the point I'm making.
Right.
Case in point, we had a conversation with, and this isn't a criticism of the punch or anything, but we were having a live stream and there's like 6 people on it. So that's kind of the medium it was. So it wasn't a good medium for complex thought. But I was trying to explain like this kind of thought I had about, I'm not going to explain it right now because it's a whole topic in itself, but my point was not being well understood by anybody. Meader understood my point, and Meader was trying to help convey that point a little bit, but it was just kind of going over everyone's head. And so my solution to that is just over-explain more, just kind of keep going. And sometimes that feedback loop never gets actually like ended, right? And I just kind of go ham.
Right.
And so I have like my self-perception there, and I think I have a good read on people, but I really, sometimes I don't. And sometimes when someone comes in and tells me something, like I need to reflect back, and kind of having that straight to the point sort of thing is great. But also having people who are saying, no, you're overthinking this, that's also great too. You kind of need both sides of that. And it's a big way to just say diversity is great in certain ways, but it can also be bad in other ways. But I think just having this is why I like talking to you, Langille, and also you, Meader, is you guys have different, very, very different perspectives and opinions, and that's where I learn the most. And that's where I'm influenced as well. I'm very different in my conversations from you guys because you guys teach me a lot.
Well, I learn a lot every time I come on the show, so I learn a lot from you guys. So I think that's the best part about communication, really, is you're always trying to learn and improve, and you need to be with people that are going to help you do that. One of the things that I hear a lot here in the maritime wrestling community is if you're the best person in the locker room, you need to find another locker room. Because if you're only going to get better by interacting with people that are better than you, if you eventually reach the top, you need to go somewhere else so you can continue to grow and to learn. If you stay where you're at, I mean, it's nothing wrong with that, but you're probably doing yourself a disservice. And I would say the same thing within TPC Sports as well. If you have someone who wins back to back championships, maybe it's time for you to find a different community. And we thank you for being a part of our community, and you're always welcome. But if you come in and dominate and go 16-0 every season of football and win every championship, there's 2 problems with that. One, you're not going to get any better because you're playing against people that are, lower skilled than you. And 2, you're going to it's a double-edged sword. Either people are going to say, I need to learn from that person, and they're going to improve, or it's going to ruin morale and people are just going to leave. So I get what you're saying. And then to tie it back into like sports and online gaming stuff, you always want to play with people that are better than you so that it'll help you improve. But when you're the best, sometimes it's time for you to move on as well.
I mean, it's your community. I think that's a bit of an aggressive approach. Maybe less. It's time for you to find another community, and more time for you to find another role within the community, like a mentor role or something along those lines. But I think that's you and I kind of swapping personalities on that one. You being the blunt side, me kind of easing it a bit low.
Kind of weird, huh?
But to Langille's point too, I think to both of your points, I think it's always good to get other perspectives, and I agree with Langille. I would love to hear what our audience thinks on these issues too, and I think that the best way to do that would be to reach out to us, join our Discord, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/We Need to Talk Show, or Twitter at WNTT1. We don't use Twitter too much. Discord would really be the best way. People are posting memes, and Langille actually posts Photoshop sometimes that are always amazing.
Nice.
So head on over to either of those and check them out.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I really enjoy their Discord. I'm on there quite a bit between the Shrek memes and the Photoshop stuff. I have a lot of fun over there.
That's something I was about to bring up. The Shrek is a very big part of We Need to Talk. I don't know how it happened. I think it's just Meader just became Shrek, and he's just, yeah. But it's something I enjoy myself. And there's one, I don't know who did this. I think it may have been you, Angel, may have been somebody else, but someone did a Photoshop where they put Meader's face on Shrek. I don't know what it was exactly, but it had me like dying of laughter. And you guys need to just go to that Discord, just find that one little thread there and just see that and just have a good laugh.
That was Langille.
That might have been me. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I do a lot of stuff. So I don't remember.
You definitely made me as Shrek, and it was amazing.
Oh, well, there you go. Normally I'd say sorry, but in this case I'll say you're welcome, and we'll go from there.
Fair enough. If you're looking to be a part of the TPC Sports League, tpcfootball.com is the website, or reach out to either Langille or myself, and we'll be able to work with you and make sure people are continuing to grow the league, and we're continuing to grow together.
Yeah, for sure. And as Meader mentioned earlier, we're getting into the TPCFL playoffs, which leads us to our biggest broadcast of the season, the championship game, which I know Meader puts a ton of time into to prepare for. So if you guys, I used to laugh when I'd get up Super Bowl Sunday and it'd be like, yeah, we're starting our broadcast at 10 a.m. for a game that's on at 7. And we're going to talk about all this stats and analysis. And I'm like, it's one game, right? But now I get it, because we do pretty much the same thing. We'll start at like 10 in the morning for a game that's played at 2, or 2 for a game that's played at 5 or something. But we recap the season. We interview all the owners. It's a big, I think it's one of the things, Meader, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's one of the things that brings the community together, because everybody tunes in for that, whether they're in the championship game or they didn't even make the playoffs. Everybody tunes in for the pregame show and then the championship game itself. It really brings the community together.
I think it's more than just a pregame show for one game. It's really a celebration of the season and everybody who has helped make the season work. All of the people in broadcast are involved. All of the owners are involved, whether they're in the game or not. Everybody has a part to play in that, and it makes us very strong as a community, and it gives everybody a voice and an outlet to be able to talk about the league. It's a big celebration, and it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, most definitely, and I thank you for all of the hard work that you put into it.
Likewise, that's twitch.tv/TPC Sports Live.
That is our Twitch channel, and that's where we'll be.
Awesome. So, Nate, do you feel that you have better prayer now?
Well, I actually thought that prayer might actually be a good thing, because I heard about this book called The Secret, and you just kind of like pray to like this totem pole or something, and things happen. Like you manifest your destiny, and sometimes if you think hard about it, you get some wood.
We need to
That's
talk.
true.